I am afraid to speak English. People will laugh at me if I start a conversation with a native speaker and I suddenly forget words. What if just can't support a conversation like I won't be able to use my English I have? So many fears. What should I do? Hi guys, welcome to Lingua Marina. Today we are going to talk about this question that arise in your head. Whenever you are confront with a situation to speak to a native speaker in English. I just want to say, first of all, I am pretty sure you have heard that many times that it's just all in your head. But I know we need to kind of dig deeper and talk about your fears because I had those fears even now when I speak German because I'm perfectionist and I get very nervous because I know I make mistakes and I know I forget words and I know everything like this happens and my face turns red. And I just and it actually starts happening when I'm relaxed. My German is a lot better if I'm in an environment just talking to friends or just talking to someone at the store. It will be really smooth language when I start thinking to oh my god, this is one of the reason I stopped recording videos about German. Just because it's been declining and I have just fears, but I also have them in English. But with English, I understood that English is a tool, it's an instrument that I use to improve my life. And without it, I won't be able to achieve my new goals and I won't be able to get to new levels or whatever YouTube of my company's development. So today I'm gonna start with fear number 1. People are gonna laugh at me. That only time I have been laughed at in terms of my English is when I live in real life. I get mocked about my accent a lot on social media, but it happens because I get hundreds of thousands of views, and I understand that even kittens get dislikes on YouTube, and there will be people who are unhappy with whatever I'm doing. And just because I'm doing it, they will be posting bad comments and hating me for whatever I do. But I also understand sometimes it's actually good to have that feedback because people tell me, oh Marina, that was wrong. That phrase was not correct, but they are not laughing at me. They are telling me how to improve, and I accept that with gratitude. So the only time I have been laughed at actually happened when I was talking to my friend and I told him I was so hooked up with this person. I want to say that we are really connected with a person, but I use phrasal verbs to hook up with someone, and it actually means have a sexual relationship, and this not what it was not what I mean. And another time it happened recently on Instagram. I come to a butcher store and I post a story that I missed his meat. And meat in American conversational English, when you say I miss his meat, means I miss his penis.
In the game, people looked at me, but I thought it was funny. It's not and it was people, oh my god, Mariana, do you know it has a second meaning? And it's not they're angry at me for making that mistake. It was a friendly advice. So I've never ever had people in real life look at me say, oh my god, your English is so bad. What are you doing here? Never ever happened in my life. And I started practicing English at the age of 14 when I was hanging out with a really mean, teenagers can be really mean and they can tell really bad things in your face, but never has that ever happened to me because people understand that I'm making an effort to be understood. They understand that I come from a completely different culture and that I've never spoken English to my parents or to my grandparents. So the only exception here is social media. If you are speaking English and social media, just be ready to get those hate comments. And even if you are perfect in English, even if you are 120 out of 120 on TOEFL, and you post a video how to get that score, you will still like, if it goes viral, you will still get comments from people. It's impossible your English is not good enough. Like, there would always be people on social media hating you, but in real life, there's like this tiny change is gonna happen, but it's not gonna happen, guys. Because native speaker, especially American, especially British, people are very friendly in real life, and people who I met, people who I talked to in English, even I was intermediate, they were really friendly and really supportive. So it's all in your head, and I think if you are have this fear in English, like people will laugh at you, you probably have it in other aspect of your life. So it's just another reason for you to sit down with yourself and think about like, I don't have to be liked by everyone. And again, I'm a person who has this feeling all the time. I want to be liked by everyone, and I wanted I'm fighting this like, once I start my channels, I realized I can't be liked by everyone, but it was really hurting me every time I read something negative about myself, and it took me a while to understand and to realize that my goal is to use my talents. It is to grow as an entrepreneur, YouTuber, whatever, as a mom, and do the best that I can. Other people think about me is other people's business. They have their own understanding of reality. They have their own experience. Maybe they just have a bad day, but it doesn't have anything to do with me. And if you want to dig deeper in this problem, I really advise you to read a book of the courage to be dislike it. It's like one of those books, and I started reading last year. I think last year I had this, I don't know, personality crisis, but I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it. I'm afraid to do this because people would comment and they would be unhappy with what I do, and I start just doing a lot of psychological research.
I started doing reading a lot of books, and that was one of the books that really helped me. Like, it just talked about how you can't control other people's emotions. You can't control what they think of you. What you have to do is focus on what you can do. The best is focus on your goals and start and achieve them. Things I could recommend: watch the one on Netflix. It just talks about this woman entrepreneur who's like a little ruthless, and she's not like a role model that I want you to follow, but it just talks about like how she deals with all the problems that arise. When I was thinking, like, if I were at her place, I would have definitely given up. But she continued going. I really encourage you to read those books, to watch the one on Netflix, and to just read interviews related to these topics, because this would help you in your life in general, not just with English. Of course, you will realize that. You know, the majority of people won't laugh at you. And if they will, it is their problem. It's not in your problem. You are doing your best. You are practicing your English. You are putting effort into being understood by people who don't even speak your language and don't even make an effort to learn your language. Okay, psychology class is over. Let's move up to some practical advice regarding other things that you can do. So there is another fear: what if the conversation gets too complicated and I won't be able to support it? I'll also get this fear, like for example again, I can't really relate to this topic in English right now. Because my language is pretty, I would say pretty advanced to talk about all kinds of topics, but with German I can totally relate And when people start asking me about business, I understand that I will start a conversation, I will talk about my company. But if they start digging deeper, I would be like, oh my god, this is so complicated. And what in 2018, I had to have a surgery in Germany. And I was surprised I was actually able to communicate with doctors and nurses about medical stuff because basically when we talk about English have a 1000 words that make up 86 of the conversation and you really need to know if you know those 1000 words. If you go into specific conversation you can always ask of definition of like specific words. So it was in Germany doing that surgery. I was like, oh, and what is this in German? I can say that in English or I could show you on Google. And once I learned like 5 or 7 words that I needed that were relate to this surgery. The conversation become really easy because you don't need to know like the whole idea of surgery medical business vocabulary to support an advanced conversation. All you need is those the 1000 words. And also if you're like, oh, I don't know how many words I know right now. This doesn't actually matter if you understand this video, that means you know enough words to support a conversation. So start practicing and if you forget word, if you don't know the term, if you forget a word, you can just Google it on your phone with Google Translate and show your party this word and you will be totally fine. And this is by the way you learn this word really fast.
Now let's continue with the video. Another question is that what if I feel shy? What if I stop and freeze? Okay, this can happen as well if you're too nervous about the conversation. The tricks that helps me a lot is to pretend that you're someone else because again stopping and freezing has to do something with what's going on with you internally, like maybe you're again thinking that people are gonna locate you and just there are so many talk in your head that you can just process them. So imagine that you are a different person. You probably, if you are speaking to a native speaker, you're probably in a new country, nobody knows you, and once this conversation is over you will part ways with this person. So try to pretend you are your favorite movie character, or try to pretend you're an American. If you're in America, try to pretend that you are this famous blogger that you are really like. I don't know how to try to pretend to be someone else. Just for this conversation is just let your fears go and it helps you become more confident when you speak. What if I offend someone? That's another fear, and one thing I want to remember here is that when we talk to person, people pay attention to our body language, to our facial expression or emotion, and even if you say something incorrectly in English, they will understand you didn't really mean it, and also they will understand like if they tell you about something and you don't understand but you just say yes, and a lot of time people will tell you but you didn't understand, right? And they would explain in another ways. It's okay to say, oh, I didn't mean that, sorry, was that offensive because my English is not good enough. It's okay. But if you're smiling, if you're open, the people will understand 100% that you didn't mean to offend them, that it was like, oh my god, I'm sorry, that is something that we're used to in our culture, or mix up the word. People would understand. Now let's wrap this video with a couple of tips. If you have an important conversation English coming up, maybe you have an interview with a university, or I remember when we were preparing for Y Combinator interview, isn't an accelerator, he's a Silicon Valley The worst mistake that you can do is actually overthink it makes sense to prepare it makes sense to go through questions that were asked before in this kind of environment, like go through questions that universities during the interview, go through questions that people are normally asked. It's easy, but I would say take your time, prepare for 2 hours, but don't take too long, because when it takes too long, when it takes day, we over prepared for a Y Combinator interview, and instead of relaxing before it, instead for just catching the vibe of Silicon Valley, we were just brainstorming how we're gonna fight that small company that is trying to do the same thing, and people there didn't even know about it. And like now, when I look back at it, it's important to know what you are talking about, like to tell a story, to tell I don't know why you are interested in this, so that university this or that subject. But don't overthink, like they will probably ask basic question, or if they ask somebody complicated question, it is almost impossible to predict that they are going to ask. So learn someone basic things, but then let yourself relax watching someone in English. Just put yourself into that environment before the conversation of the test to before the test, so that your brain switch from your language into English. It will be a lot easier.
The next tip, be nervous and do it anyways. Michael Jordan once said, being nervous isn't bad, it just means something important happening. So my tip here, and I did interview with Justin Han on Silicon Valley, and he said, don't be afraid of your emotion. Don't then tell yourself, I am nervous about this conversation. I am gonna have in English. It is fine. I understand that I am nervous because it is important conversation. I understand that my English is be not good, and I haven't practiced a lot, but I am gonna do it anyways, and I am use this conversation as practice, and after the conversation I am gonna sit down and think what was good and what was bad. I was really bad, like analyzing things afterwards, because I am this perfectionist, and when I shoot a video, don't want to see it just because I understand could have done better, and this is an process, but I actually taught myself to look at numbers. I taught myself to actually sit down and think what I did wrong and what could be done better. And it helps a lot with your progression. So after the conversation, sit down with yourself and think, did I do everything I could do? If not, you can now just have some tips for yourself. The next conversation, and I have this note is my iPhone, where I just put in things that I could do better in my video. And I have those tips that I always look at before important video, and just remind myself that I make those mistakes. It's okay. It is good that I know about them, and I am gonna be better it. The next video, the next tip, do it until it feel normal. Just keep having those conversation. In English, keep being nervous. At some stage, you're gonna be tired of it, especially if you're in an English speaking country of you're applying this university. Like I have a lot of people here in the US who are applying in the university, mostly children of my friends. I am so old, but they are applying to like 24 colleges at once, and you know interview number 10, you just get tired of it and you just get used to it and you don't feel nervous anymore, so keep doing. Also adopt the growth mindset, something we've already talked about. Like I am bad at speaking English, my accent not good, but I am using this as a way to practice, and I am using this exact conversation as my way to improve. Learn to laugh at yourself. You know, life is simple. We overcomplicate so many things. We tend to think that this meeting is game changer. It is not. You can always do another meeting. There are so many people in the world. There's so many opportunity, and you don't get any result from the upcoming conversation. Doesn't matter, you can do a lot. Your time, you have your brain that helps you speak English. Like, don't create problem for yourself. Enjoy life. We only have one life, and I want you to go ahead and enjoy it and look at everything from a positive perspective, especially if it is something like smaller, like conversation with a native speaker. Come on, it is gonna be fun. Life in is easy. Smile, tell yourself that if not today, you're gonna make it tomorrow. If not tomorrow, you're gonna make it in a week. It is fine. You'll get here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video up to the very end. Please subscribe this channel, and if you have friends who are struggling to speak English or any other language, please share this video with them, and I see you very soon in my next video.